go from here to the station, must I go along George Street? If I want to go from here to the station, must I go along George Street?
Yes. Yes.
If you want to go
from here,
not from here
to the station,
you must go along
George Street.
George Street. Beautiful. Which streets do you walk along when you go home? Which streets do you walk along when you go home?
When I go home,
So start with I walk along
I walk along
George Street, Princess Street.
Princess Street.
When I go home.
When I go home.
Great. Is there a white line along the road from here to Glasgow? Is there a white line along the road from here to Glasgow?
Yes.
There's a white line.
There is a white line.
There is a white line. There's a white line along the road from here
to
Glasgow. Not from here to Glasgow. Fantastic. Which is the quickest way to the station from here? Which is the quickest way to the station from here? The quickest way to the station from here is to go along
George Street.
George Street. Fantastic. Which is the best way to remember something very well? Which is the best way to remember something very well? The best way to remember something very well.
Very well.
Not well. Very well. Is to repeat it often. Often. Great. Do you know the way from here to Ocean Terminal by road? Do you know the way from here to Ocean Terminal by road? Yes? No. I don't know the way from here to Ocean Terminal by road. Not by road, but by road. Great. What's the best way to learn a language? What's the best way to learn a language? The best way to learn a language. Not learn a language is to study a lot. And repeat. It's true. Okay, how often do you come here? I come here 5 times a week. Great. How often do you go to the cinema? I go to the cinema about. I go to the cinema never. Maybe I never go to the cinema. And how often do we live? We only. Start with we only live once. Fantastic, that's it. We only live once. Fantastic. How often do you text your friends? I text my friends every day. Fantastic. Is it good for the health to eat fresh fruit and vegetables? Is it good? Oh, wait a minute. Fantastic. Okay. Is it good for the health to eat fresh fruit and vegetables? Yes.
Yeah, it's good to health.
Not good to. It's good for.
It's good for health.
Not health, for the health.
For the health.
To eat
fresh fruit
and vegetables. And which is healthier to have with our lunch, chips or salad? Which is healthier to have with our lunch, chips or salad?
Salad
is healthier.
Is healthiest.
Not healthiest. Healthier to have with our lunch than chips. It's true. Is it healthy to go to bed late every day? Is it healthy to go to bed late every day?
Yes.
No. It isn't healthy.
It isn't healthy
to go to bed late every day. It's unhealthy.
It's unhealthy.
No, it's unhealthy. Exactly. And 2 plus 2 equals 7. Do you agree? 2 plus 2 equals 7. Do you agree?
No, I'm not agree.
No, I don't agree.
I don't agree.
That 2 plus 2.
2 plus 2.
That's 2 plus 2.
That 2 plus 2
equals 7.
I
disagree. Right? I disagree.
I disagree.
2 plus 2.
2 plus 2
equals
4.
9? 4, good. 4. Do you agree that Paris is an ugly place? No. I don't agree that Paris is an ugly place. I disagree. And do you always agree with everything people say? Do you always agree with everything people say? No, I don't.
I don't always agree
with everything
people say.
Sometimes
Sometimes
I agree.
I agree.
And sometimes
I disagree.
I disagree. Fantastic. Which is it right to say I agree or I'm agree? Which is it right to say I agree or I'm agree? It's right to say
It's right to say
I agree.
I agree.
That's it. I agree.
I agree.
And 14 plus 80 equals 94. What am I doing? 14 plus 80 equals 94. What am I doing? You're adding.
You're adding
14
14
and
plus
80.
at 80.
And 80, great. Is it complicated to add the numbers 15 and 30 together? Is it complicated to add the numbers 15 and 30 together? No. It isn't
Isn't
complicated to add the numbers
Add the numbers
15
15
and 30
and 30
together. It's simple.
It's simple.
It's simple. What do we sometimes add to our tea and coffee? What do we sometimes add to our tea and coffee? We sometimes
add
milk
milk
and sugar
and sugar
to our tea,
to our tea,
to our tea
and
coffee.
coffee.
Interesting. What do we add to a regular verb to form its past tense? What do we add to a regular verb to form its past tense?
We add
the letters
ed
to a regular verb.
to our regular verbs.
Not verbs, to a regular verb.
To our regular verbs.
Verb, that's it. To form
To form
its past tense.
its past tense.
Tense. Oh my god. Okay, so it's new work, everybody. If you have the books, you can open your books now. Page 210. Beautiful. And just repeat after me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Right. So when you want to speak to somebody that you don't know, the polite thing to say is, excuse me. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
That's what you say. When you want to speak to somebody that you don't know, don't say, oi, say, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Fantastic. So when we want to speak to somebody we don't know, what's the first thing we generally say? When we want to speak to somebody we don't know, what's the first thing we generally say when we want to speak to somebody
to speak to somebody
we don't know?
we don't know,
The first thing,
the first time,
not time, thing, the first thing
the first thing
we generally say
we generally say
is
excuse me.
Excuse me, great. Give me an example, please. Give me an example. So, excuse me. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Can you tell me
The way
to the station?
To the station.
Please.
Please.
Great. Okay. Repeat. Wife. Wives.
Wives.
Help.
Help.
Help. Good. If you can't do something, somebody can help you do it. For example, this table is too heavy for me to lift, but if you help me, we can maybe lift the table together. Okay, wife and wives. Many words in English spelled F-E become V-E-S in the plural. So the plural of wife is wives. Mr. Brown's wife is the lovely Mrs. Brown. Okay, what's the plural of wife? What's the plural of wife? The plural of wife is wives. Exactly. Do husbands in your country generally help their wives in the house? Do husbands in your country generally help their wives in the house? Yes or
Yes.
no? Husbands
Husbands
in my country
in my country
generally help
help
their wives
their wives
in the house.
in the house.
In the house, good. If you can't answer a question during the lesson, who helps you to answer it? If you can't answer a question, who helps you to answer it? If I can't answer, if I can't answer a question during the lesson, teacher. The teacher helps me. Helps me to answer it. Answer it. Great. If you help me, do you think we can lift this table together? If you help me, do you think we can lift this table together? Yes. If I help you.
If I help you,
I think
we can lift
this table
together.
Great. Okay, repeat. Common. If something is common, you can see it or find it everywhere. You could say that McDonald's is a very common restaurant. You might say that John is a very common name in Britain. You can hear the name John everywhere. Beer is a very common drink in Scotland. Which is the most common drink in your country besides water? Which is the most common drink in your country besides water?
The common drink in my
Okay,
country.
maybe put it at the beginning, so say maybe, Zubrovka
Zubrovka
is the most
common drink in my country.
Besides, not besides water. Great, okay, repeat fire.
Fire.
So when you are very cold in the forest, you need to light a fire to warm your hands. You can also have a fire at home in the fireplace with wood or coal, etc. Do you have a fire at home in winter? Do you have a fire at home in winter? Yes or no?
No.
No. I don't have
I don't have
a fire at home
in
winter. Great. Repeat. Broad. Broad. So when talking about anything which is very long, like a street or maybe a river or a corridor, it's either going to be broad or narrow. So for example, you might say Princess Street is a very broad street in Edinburgh, whereas Rose Street or Hill Street is a very narrow street. So which is the broadest street in your city? Which is the broadest street in your city?
Avenida de la Palmera.
Is the broadest street
Broadest street
in my city?
in my city.
Great. Repeat. Rich.
Rich.
So if you have a lot of money, you're rich. The opposite of rich is poor.
Poor.
But who is the richest person you know? Who is the richest person you know? My friend, my father, my boss, Mr. Brown. Say my friend.
My friend.
Is the richest person.
My friend is the rich person.
Not rich, richest.
Richest person.
I know.
I know.
Great. And the opposite of rich is poor. So just repeat. Poor. Name me one of the poorest countries in the world. Name me one of the poorest countries in the world.
Africa.
It's not really a country. Maybe Somalia, Haiti. Somalia. Maybe is one
Is one
of the poorest countries.
Country.
Not countries
Countries.
in the world. Great. Okay, repeat. Story.
Story.
Bedtime.
Bedtime.
Bedtime is the time where you go to sleep. Okay, story. You need to be careful, especially with Spanish pronunciation here, because we have two words. History, which is the subject you study at school with kings and queens, and story, which is what you read from a book or what your parents read to you when you're a child. So just be careful of that Spanish pronunciation of saying history. Okay, so history is the subject at school.
Yes.
Story is what you read from a book. So do you like reading war stories? Do you like reading war stories? Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I like
reading
I like reading stories.
war stories.
War?
War stories.
War
Stories, yeah? You like reading war stories?
No.
No, I don't like
I dislike
reading war stories.
reading war stories.
Great. Do parents in your country read bedtime stories to their children? Do parents in your country read bedtime stories to their children? Yes?
Yes.
Parents.
Parents. Parents.
In my country.
In my country.
Read bedtime stories.
Read. Bedtime story.
No, bedtime.
Bedtime.
Not bedtime. Bedtime.
Bedtime.
Stories.
Bedtime is story.
Not time, no, time.
Bedtime.
Stories
Story
to their children.
to the children.
It is beautiful.